Welcome to the Dornan Diaries podcast, where we share real stories from people shaping our projects and our industry. This season, we're partnering with the Women Dornan network to spotlight voices that are driving inclusion, leadership and change across engineering and construction. You'll hear honest conversations about career journeys, challenges, resilience and support systems that help us grow. So whether you're starting out or building your path in this sector, you are absolutely in the right place. This is the Dornan Diaries podcast. Look, I'm so glad to finally have you face to face. We've been meeting on Teams for the past 12 months, if not longer. You've done so much. Like, if nobody knows who you are, I mean, they must not have their LinkedIn turned on.
They're not online.
They're not online. As you said earlier on, if it's pink, it's me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, I'll let you introduce yourself and what you are and what you've done. We'll go back right to the start of how you got into construction and where you are now and the future of where you want to be.
So my dad is a QS. So he had his own companies growing up, construction companies. And I would have been on site in the office with him from very young, from primary school age through secondary school, summers, Christmas, Easter, that sort of stuff, when there was no school, basically. So I was immersed in the construction industry from a very young age, to the point where I didn't really ever think there was an alternative. I didn't really know anything about anything else.
It was your life and your world.
Yeah, Mammy worked in the ESB in an office, and I knew that certainly was not for me. I didn't know what in the construction industry. He was a QS, but had his own company, so was doing a bit of everything. I did have architecture in my mind until I went on work placement to an architect's office and knew within about 3 seconds that was not for me. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, so that shows you work placement is very important. And then, so I'm from Louth, and I knew at 18 I was not ready to move away from home. So DKT was my option. So I had building surveying, civil engineering. So I went building surveying, not knowing what a building surveyor did. Came out in the middle of the worst recession the country's ever seen. Went into my master's in construction project management in Heriot Watt. Did a bit of travelling and eventually got working in Dublin for years, 5 or 6 years. Then, so again from Louth, but was living in Monaghan at this stage. Got a job with a local contractor, family-run business, houses mostly, school extensions, that sort of stuff. Was working as a QS but didn't have a QS degree or qualification at all.
Yeah, like most QSs bagging it.
Now I say I was working as a QS. It was everything, and I loved it because I got stuck
experience
into
of everything.
But I went back and did my master's in QS in TU Dublin. So I was officially a quant surveyor at this stage. And then I very happily got pregnant with my first child and was due her the May of 2020, COVID times. So had her and very quickly realised when I started looking into crashes and things like that
it's expensive.
But not even that. I couldn't make it work.
Couldn't give it,
So I was working 8 to 6. The crash opens 8 to 6. My husband works. My parents work. My in-laws work. Do you know, my options were to have a childminder come to the house and then take her to crash, and then for the childminder to pick her up and take her home until one of us got home. So even time-wise and money-wise, it wasn't making any sense. Yeah. My other option was to go back to Dublin. And if that was the case, I wasn't going to see her morning or evening, Monday to Friday.
Yeah. So you had to pick a choice between
something had to go.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a lecturing job in TU Dublin, Bolton Street. So I 3 days a week, it worked out being 3 days a week on the timetable. And even the way the classes were, I could still get home to see her before bed. So 5 years there. And now I'm in DKT lecturing, so I'm 25 minutes from home, which I will never complain about, ever. When people tell me they commute for 20 minutes, I was like, that's not a commute. That's a donder in the road.
Because I was just going to say, the road up and down to Monaghan must have been some drag.
If I drove, it would take me as long to get from my house to Whitehall as it was from Whitehall into TU Dublin. That's how bad it was.
It'd be worse now with the traffic.
And then the buses, if there was any tip on the M1, you were done. Yeah. So I'll never complain, ever, about commuting. But April 2024, I just had this brainwave that if Ada, my daughter, came to me when she was 18 and says, Mommy, I'm filling out my CAO, I want to put down plumbing, or I want to put down architecture, or I want to put anything in the industry, anything. I genuinely want to be able to say to her, that's brilliant. I'm so excited for you. You're going to love it. And at the minute, I'm just not there. I couldn't say that to her. Yeah. If my son came and says, I want to do an apprenticeship in plumbing, or I want to be an architect or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, you're going to be fine. And he would be fine. The type of him, he'd be fine. But I'd be worried about her. I would be concerned. I'm not saying I had an awful hard time in the industry. I didn't.
What makes you say that then? That like obviously construction has come a long way from when we entered
Massively.
into it.
Yeah.
But what makes you think that now with your daughter that you can't?
More that I've seen kind of the life cycle of what it's like being a woman in the industry. It's not getting into it is the hard bit. It's staying in it.
Yeah.
It's the staying.
The statistics show that women at 45 will drop off.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're either sick of arguing the resilience and getting the resilience, or their career just will not go any further.
Or care and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Or burnout. Or that's our next piece of research actually we're going to do is looking at where this fallout's happening, specifically what age. We're going to do a comparison between Ireland, America and Australia to see what's happening. But I don't want her to join an industry and 10 years later to have to leave it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Especially if she loves it. And I loved it. And I wouldn't, that's why I keep saying I wouldn't fight so hard for it if I didn't love it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a waste of time. I would love for her to enter it, but I want her to be in a career where she can see herself for the duration of her.
Yeah.
Not
up there at the
necessarily
top.
with the same company, not necessarily even doing the same role.
Mm.
But if you want to be in the industry, you know, you should have a chance to stay in it and progress. So that's kind of where Women in Construction Ireland came from. There's an awful lot of work going into getting women into the industry. I didn't think we needed more of that.
And I am very similar of that mindset.
Yeah.
That's why I head up because I think it's more about retention
than
it is driving it in.
Yeah.
Because fair enough, get girls in and educate them around it. But I mean, to keep them in this industry is is actually the hardest part.
Yeah. And like just now we're only at the very, very start of our research. And I love having, as my academic head on me, I love having facts and figures to back up what I'm saying. I'm not going to stand up
You're not going to be full of bullshit. You need to,
I'm not going to stand up and say, you should do X, Y, and Z because I said so. I'm going to say, you should do X, Y, and Z because here's the evidence. This is what you need to do. Now, we're at the very, very start of the research, but the numbers are ever increasing of women coming into the industry. Very slowly, very slightly, but the numbers are increasing. So how is that not translating to more women in the industry? There's more women coming in, but there's not more women in it. So there's a drop off there somewhere. And nobody's looking at it. Nobody's really talking about it. So that's one thing I really want to look into is it's one massive part of WICI is supporting the women that's already there. We have so many STEM programs out there bringing young women in. And I feel like depending on where they go when they get into the industry, that could be the end of their support. So this was about an all-island, all-industry approach. There are companies out there that are big enough and bold enough and rich enough to support their females.
Yeah. But there's some out there, there's smaller
there's
SMEs.
An awful lot that aren't. But Women in Construction Ireland is for everybody. And it's a place to learn. I'm not going to stand up in front of all the members and say I have all the answers because I certainly do not. It's where we're going to learn from each other.
Yeah.
If one company's doing something particularly well, right, well, can we help? You know, can we share this knowledge? You know, stop gatekeeping. Let us
let us know the secret.
Yeah, how are you getting your 50% quota or whatever it is that you have? Do you know, so that's basically why it was set up, to help support the women that are already in the industry.
How many members do you have now?
As of today, we're just on the verge of signing our 50th.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Considering this time last year we had 4.
Yeah.
So
and you were having a hard time trying to convince me.
Slightly different membership. It was a different membership profile last year. So like Amy Martin coming on as strategic advisor. I'm not a business person. I'm a QS. I know numbers, give me money. I can deal with that sort of stuff. And I know about women in construction.
Your biggest tool is your mouth as well. Like you can talk.
Yeah, I can definitely talk. And I know about women in construction. What I don't know is running a business.
Yeah.
So having Amy come on board, she was the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I suppose the history of me and you, we had, you gave us a proposal at the very beginning, and I was like, whoa, this is woman. She wants to achieve a lot with just herself and her man or dad. Like I was like, it's a lot. And then I met you obviously at the CIF, and I said, look, go away, build a team around you because this is a big thing and it's needed within the industry in Ireland. So I'm glad that you've took it away and took that.
So we have Amy, and then we have our board of advisors then as well in the background. So a great sounding board, women from every walk in the industry, which is great, from SME sole traders right up to the big boys. Like
no, it is fantastic, especially when you get the big boys on board.
Yeah, because that's what I say. You need to learn off these companies. Like, and I have sole traders, like literally one woman bands, health and safety advisors. So to have them in the same company as Dornan or Sisk or John Paul.
Yeah. And you know what? Your membership is not, it's reasonably priced that an SME could afford it.
That was
the
whole point. So I came from an SE background. I've only ever worked for SMEs. Yeah. I've never worked for the big boys. So I always have my SME hat on. And I feel like those are the women that probably need more support,
Yeah,
if anything,
definitely.
than the women coming from these bigger companies.
Because it's not going to change if you're not supporting them smaller companies.
Yeah.
Because that's where the real issue. Like,
Yeah.
there's issues within the big ones, but like with the little ones, like they'll never have a voice if someone like you doesn't step in.
And they might not have the finance, or even like say for our mentoring, they mightn't have an in-house mentoring scheme because A, they can't afford it, but B, they've no women.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was just going to say they're only the one woman
to be a mentor and a
mentor.
mentee. Do you know? So there's that side of it as well. There's the physical and the financial side of it.
Yeah, because I think we were saying it earlier on in the other podcast, you know, that it's all well and good having male allies, but I think women need to support women along their career and you know, give them that step up and be the person in the background going, you can actually do it. Like,
yeah, and I hope that's what our members are going to get. So the SMEs are obviously getting the benefit of learning from what the tier ones are doing, but the tier ones are going to hear the opinions of the SMEs. Well, look, that's all well and good what you can do, but this is the issue I'm having. So how, you know, and it's about working together to try and overcome some of these obstacles.
So since you said, have you met with much resistance since you is there anyone that you have gone, you're absolute talking shite, like that it's not, it's not worth your time and energy?
Not really. People are very polite. Apart from me. There was one man I had a run-in with on LinkedIn who had a really big problem with the logo being pink.
Having a bad day, was he?
He had a really big problem. Why pink? Why did it have to be pink? And I was like, well, why not?
Oh, it stands out.
Yeah,
like,
that was the whole bit. Like, I'm not into marketing or that, but I'm sure, like, if you see it pink,
stands out.
Yeah,
I think our marketing team could take a thing or two. Just saying.
But you know what I mean? And like, a bit of ChatGPT was like, you know, when you're at setting it up, what colour should I do my logo? What shape should it be? Da 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 da. Bright colour. So obviously I went pink. He had a bee in his bonnet and went on and on. I was like, do you know what? I could get into this and I probably would enjoy the argument, but I'm not having this on LinkedIn for everyone to see. But yeah, he's probably, I get a lot of, no, I don't get a lot, sorry. But feedback I've got a little bit of from the bigger companies is that they're doing enough of their own in-house. And I'm like, that's brilliant. And that's amazing. But for the sake of our very small membership fee, let's be honest, would you not join us and learn possibly from us?
Yeah, but as I said to you originally, like, we want to help you. Do you know what I mean? If there's stuff that you can tap into,
that's the vast majority of what I'm getting, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But there are a few people who've been like, oh no, well, we're doing our own thing and we're fine over here by ourselves. And I'm like, look.
And I think if you dived in, you probably see that they're actually probably not.
Well, they could, even if they are doing everything right, surely their women within their own company would still benefit from expanding their network. Would still benefit from meeting new women in the industry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, as we all know, like, there's clients events, there's all kinds of manner of things that you know, a client and you know, a subby will, you know, there's always that, you know, back and forth, even in the in the boardroom and everything else. But it's harder for a woman to get that kind of audience and get that kind of one-to-one with a client or one-to-one without being invited to the things and networking events or anything, like even awards. Like, you know, you're meeting peers, you're meeting the people that are in your industry that are kind of influential that you kind of want to look up to as well. Like, so that's what another question I wanted to ask you is about your networking strategy as well. You've kind of branched out from where you were last year as well.
Networking, I didn't realise how important it was. And I didn't realise how difficult it is for some women as well. I'm happy enough to go into a room full of people and start introducing myself. Like,
not everybody is Joanne.
What's the opposite of shy? Whatever the opposite of shy is, that's what I am. But like, our networking events are very much aimed at you have to talk to somebody else. You can't talk to the person you walked in the door with. Like, I keep saying that. It's like me taking my 5-year-old to Camogie. I'm going to make you make new friends. You're going to have new contacts when you leave here, if it kills me and you in the process. But that is the point of it. Like, so I purposely give everyone like coloured lanyards when they come in, and you're only allowed to talk to people. Sounds very extreme, but you're supposed to talk to people with the same coloured lanyard. And like, even if it's to the point where I can give you talking topics if you need it, like, it hasn't come to that. Women tend to be very good at talking.
Shocker.
But the amount of feedback we get in terms of networking, going, you know, geez, we have mutual friends that we never knew about, especially when they're so locally based. So like, we're going Limerick, Cork, Galway and Dublin. We will always have one in Dublin. But like last year we did Dundalk, and Dundalk there was like 30 people in the room, and I'd say we all knew each other through one person. Do you know?
Oh, it's like even in the M&E world, you're always 1 degree of separation from someone you know, or someone that you like. It's an Irish thing anyway. Like, you're always.
So there's that aspect of it, and I do think it's. And I hate the thing about women needing more confidence. I don't think that's the thing. But being in an environment like that does take you out of your box. And it does make you present yourself and talk about yourself.
Yeah, and
grow.
present the business as well. Like you're essentially at these networking events, like representing your business. Like so, you're selling yourself plus the people you work for as well.
Yeah.
Probably a good place to plug as well that we're sponsoring the networking event.
Thank you very much.
No problem, no problem at all. That we're sponsoring the Radisson. You're coming down to us in May.
Yeah.
So I'm no doubt that you're going to be all over LinkedIn shouting that one out and get all the people in Munster coming down.
It's good. It'll be one of the bigger ones. We haven't been to Cork before, and we've signed on a few companies down there, and a few of our companies have bases down there as well.
Yeah.
But my big thing is
we're there, Joneses are there, Sisker. There's a
after
big
opening,
players down,
yeah. So plus all the smaller ones.
Yeah.
I have a big contingent from Clare randomly of very small companies. So I don't know. Obviously, word got out. One joined, and then the rest joined. But
there's a whole fan club down in Clare for you.
It must be. Yeah, it must be very popular down in Clare.
I think you need to go down there.
I want it to be open to non-members as well. So obviously members pay their membership. They get first access to everything. They get first dibs on everything. They get the name and rights, etc., etc. It has to be, in my eyes, open to non-members as well for a small fee. I don't think any woman should be financially penalised to come to these sort of things. But obviously the members are paying the membership, so the non-members will have to pay towards it as well. But there's your SMEs. If I was still working for that contractor in Louth, that's where I couldn't probably expect him to pay the membership fee, but I could go to the webinars and pay my small amount. I could go to the networking. I could still be involved without being a member, and I think that's equally as important as getting the members in. So we will, at the networking, we'll hopefully have a nice mix of members and non-members. So again, even expanding your network even further, hopefully.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions from the network, I suppose. As the only woman in many rooms, I often hear that the door is open. So my question is, who is actually responsible for holding that door open for women?
Everyone. And I see this women supporting women. I'm all for women supporting women. But if we only relied on women to support us, we would get nowhere because there isn't enough women ahead of us in the construction industry.
Yeah.
So everyone, men, women, everyone, be it recent graduates, should be holding the door open for ones coming behind them.
Yeah.
People in the middle tier should be holding open for graduates, be it man or woman. I really genuinely think, I did get feedback once from a woman saying, well, I fought tooth and nail to get where I am. Why should I have to fight tooth and nail and then make it easy for the person coming behind me? And I was like, right, okay, that's a perspective. But I feel like if I fought tooth and nail to get to where I was, I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through that.
Yeah.
Suffer because I suffered. It's a strange way of looking at it. So I think genuinely everybody should be holding the door open for whoever's coming behind them.
No, absolutely. It's a valid point. I suppose many women tend to go into they either fall into the construction industry, but you obviously followed your father's footsteps.
Yeah. And my mother's kind of. So Mammy worked in ESB and now she is a tutor with Solace with apprentices. So she's teaching apprentices and I'm teaching construction graduates. So we have the control of the industry in our hands for the future generations coming through.
We can mould and shape them. Do you think now that it's probably a little bit of a better place for your daughter to go into, or do you think they'll obviously there's a lot more work to do, but there's progress being made outside of the work you do? Do you see it within the industry change? And obviously with the likes of our employee resource groups and this thing CIF event and everything else which we talked about earlier on at length, like it's given focus on girls, and even with the STEM this year with the I wish that it was construction focused.
There was a section in a little class.
Yeah, we were there as well.
I think again, depending on what area she went into and what company she ended up in.
Yeah.
If she ends up in an SME in the middle of the country, the support's not there.
Yeah. Women
in Construction Ireland's there, but we can't support every single company. I can't physically go around every company and help them. If she was to enter, and by the way, she wants to be a pilot at the minute, so
fair play to her.
It's not looking likely. But if she did come into the industry and ended up in a tier 1 and was living down in Dublin, she's going to be fine because the tier 1s have better flexibility, have better resources, better finances put into this sort of thing. If she ends up for a contractor in the middle of Louth or Monaghan, possibly not as flexible, and she'll love it for the same thing will happen. She'll love it for the first 10 years, and then when things start changing in her home life,
that retention, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I suppose the thing we're looking at the moment with the network is, flexibility around returning to work. Like we're doing a whole revamping our policy, and that's actually one thing I liked in your first proposal that you were doing, that you'd go in and have a look at. And I think SMEs probably need that kind of support, is to look at policies and see what they're doing and doing right. And
I
doing
kind of
wrong.
wish there was a template that, because it's not going to be one size fits all. What you can provide your females returning back to work isn't going to be the same as a family-run business.
Yeah.
But if there was a template that somebody, CIF, government, somebody was handing out to say, well, look, here is a good starting point.
It's a guideline. It's
a guideline, thank you. If it was like, here's a 10-point guideline. How many of these 10 points can you provide to the women coming back? Because most SMEs haven't a clue.
Yeah.
I was the first person to go on maternity leave.
Oh, it's so in London. I worked 10 years in London, and there was there was nobody had gone on maternity leave, because obviously we're all pretty much Irish over there, so you kind of gone back home or whatever. So we'd never up until recently we'd never had a woman go out on maternity leave.
So never mind dealing with someone going out on maternity, how you handle it. They haven't even thought far enough ahead. Right, what happens when she comes back?
When she comes back, yeah.
So I think if there was a set of guidelines produced by somebody. It's not for me. It's not for Women in Construction Ireland to do. You know, there's people far more qualified than I would be. But to set a set of guidelines, like, look, here's the top 10 things you can do. And if an SME can pick the top 5, you know, and a tier 1 can pick all 10 and more, so be it. Because it's not a one size fits all. It can't be.
No.
You know, it just couldn't, given the industry.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes. Even, you know, again, when we're talking about retention and everything else, it's a hot topic. I discussed it earlier on about perimenopause and menopause and everything. For me personally, I'm more afraid of that than anything else coming at me. But it's crazy. We talk about it more now, so we know what to expect, but like it's crazy what it does to a woman's body. Like, and we're, you know, there's no workplace, never mind the industry that we're in, that's ready, like, that can face that. I don't think, anyway. That's my opinion on it. But it's and I think in our industry sometimes it gets laughed at and joked at or whatever. But it's quite a serious thing for a woman to go through.
Well, when you're saying that, so our first set of webinars with Women in Construction Ireland, so the first
that's
one,
what I was going to talk about.
The first one was menstruation. Second one's going to be all things maternity, and the third one's going to be menopause.
Yeah, so the menopause one was really...
We're shouting at our members, like, come join us. But I'm also like, get the men in your companies to join this webinar. Like, it's equally as important that they know what's happening, that the women know what's happening. Like, we all know to a certain extent what's happening with our bodies. The men who are around us all day, every day, should be equally aware of it and how to support it.
Yeah, it was funny enough. It was my brother. He works for a construction company in Aberdeen, and they did menopause awareness training. Yeah. And he's like, he didn't see the benefit until he sat in it, and he was like, hold on a minute, I have a daughter, I have a wife. Eventually it's going to hit me like a ton of bricks, like, and I need to know, is it the menopause, or is she just having a bad day?
But also, like, if he's working with Mary in the office down the hall and Mary's going through menopause, is there anything that he can do to help without stepping over boundaries,
adjustments,
obviously?
It's flexibility. It's, you know, it can come on you all of a sudden, or, you know, it drastically change some women. Like, some women are fine, like, but it does.
Supposedly you take after your mother. So that's what my mother told me.
I can't ask mine. God rest her. But
I am fact.
I'm trying to remember back when she was going through it, what she was like.
No, Mammy's already warned me, so.
Yeah.
But even conversations like that, you should be able to have conversations like that with the men sitting at the table. Like, they need to be aware that at a certain stage, all of these women that we're getting into the industry, if we manage to keep them, something's going to happen a certain amount of time down the road, and you need to be ready for it.
Yeah,
you know?
Because the one that you did on menstruation, like, it's really interesting to see all the different, even though you might not suffer them yourself, like, they can be debilitating, like, for some women, like,
Absolutely.
that they can't go into work and they can't.
There was one of them, she was talking, I didn't even know it existed, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of it was. She talked about PCOS. PPMD. I genuinely had never heard of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I've learned something from this. At least if someone says to me PPMD, I'm like, right, I know what it is. I don't know how to help you, but at least I know what it is and I'm aware of it. Yeah. So, like, there you go. There's me.
But
as
I think
a woman.
there's a lot of celebs in the UK, female celebs, that have come out now and they have that diagnosis. Okay. But it can give you severe depression and massive anxiety and everything else. Like, it's but again, it's through conversations like this that we're learning so much about it.
So important.
Yeah.
Especially in a male-dominated industry, because it's spoken about less.
Yeah. It's a thing that we've kind of, as the Women's Network, we've kind of challenged this year. Not challenged, but I suppose we set targets, and, you know, we talk about testicular cancer, prostate cancer and everything else. But I was like, can we not roll out something for the female side of things? So, like, with the likes of your webinars and stuff, like, we're joining it, we're educating the guys as well. We're rolling out menopause awareness mandatory. Like we're hoping to get that done, you know.
And
so.
Loretta was saying that's probably, it's the UK now, it's probably like if the UK does something, we usually jump on the bandwagon. So it's more than
as
likely
much as we try to get away from them.
It's more than likely going to come in here sooner or later as well, being mandatory.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, no, it is like it's until you kind of reach that age yourself, you're like, oh,
yeah, I'm a bit away from it. Yeah. Like for a while.
I'm pre-touring along there, but
the next one's maternity. So obviously it's going to be aimed at a certain age demographic of women in the industry. But I think that's equally important. Like, what are we as an industry, if we're getting all these young women in and we want to keep them, we need to know what we're going to do when or if they get pregnant and they all need to go on maternity leave.
Yeah, so more often than not,
the industry's not ready.
No, it's not. More often than not in construction, when you come back after having maternity, your job has changed. I was saying it earlier on as well, that you've stepped away from the business for 12 months. A lot can change in a business in 12 months.
And I understand that the project has changed. That's fine. Obviously, the project's not going to pause while you go on maternity leave. The project will be finished, but you should be able to pick up and
start your job
on a
security,
new project.
your where you were as a valuable employee, like you won't come back. Like you will not come back in and sit in your job like you were 12 months ago, as you well know. Like
I didn't go back at all. So
there you go.
Mine completely changed. But I like if I had to have gone back, my job more than likely would have been the same because I was the one and only person doing that role. Do you know, I was, they had obviously got someone in to replace me. So I could have changed, as in that person would have taken aspects of my job, but I would have filled in the rest of the gaps. Yeah. We'll never know.
It'll always be a mystery.
I'm glad I don't have to find out. No, but and again, I keep coming back to it, but the SMEs are going to need this extra level of support. If they couldn't pay me full maternity pay, I wouldn't expect them to. Do you know, a small family run company can't afford to pay me full time and pay for my replacement full time.
Yeah.
Try living off the state maternity leave in the middle of COVID. It was a nightmare. Like the bills weren't, well, they were getting paid, but barely.
Yeah.
So that in itself is a whole thing that needs to be looked at.
I have a female friend. Well, she's obviously female, but she's a QS. Her husband's a QS. They live in London, outside London, and she had unfortunately, but she's had 2 sets of twins, all under 2.
Jesus.
So in her QS, unfortunately. She's had no choice but step away from the industry because she couldn't afford the childcare. Like absolutely
for childcare,
for
and in London.
Yeah, so she had to step away, and she loved her job. Absolutely loved her job. But it's
we're at the stage now where if we're not having any more children, but if we were, I would actually be the breadwinner. But can you imagine if I went back to work and my husband stayed off work?
Yeah.
Oh, the stigma, like the talk of the town. Like it's
You'd
not.
Be shunned up there.
I'm telling you, I would. Too progressive for my own good.
I'll let your one know with her notions.
Notions.
But it's the mammy guilt. Like it's not.
The mammy guilt. I seen something on Instagram the other day saying working mothers know how it feels to fail at 2 things simultaneously. You're failing at work because you're constantly parenting. You're failing at parenting because you're constantly working.
Yeah.
Failing's a very strong word, but you feel like you're failing.
Yeah.
When I'm working, I feel guilty that I should be with the kids. And when I'm with the kids, I feel guilty that I'm not getting back to emails or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know,
the balance is hard.
There's no balance. Well, I certainly haven't been able to find it anyway.
Yeah. But sure, you're too busy now.
I know.
So what is the plan now for the next 12 months? If I was to sit here with you in 12 months' time, what would you tell me you're after achieving or doing?
Well, with the mentoring scheme, I have high hopes for this mentoring scheme. It is the first of its kind. So it's either going to fly or fail. Hopefully fly. It is the first all island, all industry mentoring scheme. So all of our members get to put forward 2 or 3 mentors and or mentees. There are obviously female mentorships out there, right? Like the SSI do a great one for Elevate.
There's a big one now in the UK.
Leadership
Circle
one
as well.
Yes. First of all, the Elevate one, SESI is you're surveying. If you're not a surveyor, you can't take part, basically. And the Circle one, to my knowledge, is quite expensive.
It is very expensive.
So we're filling a gap somewhere where it doesn't matter what role you're taking in the industry, you can be involved. So obviously through Women Construction Ireland, when I'm getting members signed on, an awful lot of time I'm talking to HR. And those women were like, oh, can we be involved? I was like, absolutely. I have HR women I have contacts now with HR women that are HR in the construction industry for 30 years and new graduates coming in. So why can't they benefit from the mentoring scheme as well? They're just as important to the industry as the site-based. Now, obviously, I would like to get my hands on more site-based women to help them, because I think specifically they need extra help. They are the ones who are going to be most isolated. But it's the first industry-wide. I genuinely, we don't care what role you have in the industry. We want as many members to get involved as possible. I am not a mentoring expert. I have done my fair share of mentees and mentoring, but I don't know how to run this. So we've got a third party and we've got Advancy in. They're going to run it, and they specialise in female leadership. So, and we didn't copy and paste one that they've already done. We've specifically tailored it to women in the construction industry. So like previously it would have been very set, as in the mentors and mentees have to meet every Friday at 1:00. That's not going to run in the construction industry. No. Like it's just, that's not. So we're going to pair them up. They get their training, they get introduction, and then it's up to you. Like we're all adults. We're all women. We should be able to find time to meet. So we're going to pair them up and give them, 6 months to meet 6 times or whatever it is. We're going to do pre and post surveys to find out how it went. And I really hope that that's something we can build on then next year. So I'm hoping this time next year we'll be launching phase 2 of our mentoring scheme initiative with even more members involved.
Oh, that's it. Like, it's a fantastic, like you learn so much off a mentor, like, and it's not even, you don't have to be the same job role. Like it's just,
that's the thing. I can't guarantee it's going to be the same job role because we've so many different companies. Yeah. But there's nothing to say, like, I'd love to be mentored by someone who's just been in the industry longer than me. Do you know? There's no point me being mentored by a QS anymore. Just someone who knows how to run a business would be great for me at this stage.
Really beneficial to you.
Do you know? So there's that side of it. The networking will always have a place in my heart. I genuinely, it's the easiest box to tick when it comes to helping women in the industry. And I love doing it.
I suppose a lot of times an event can be seen as just a social thing. Like there is an aspect of that.
There
is an aspect to it, but unless, like, how, like, even for myself, like, how am I supposed to sit in a room? It breaks barriers. Like, I've spoken to you at an event, and it does help that casual kind of conversation, that casual, like, well, how are you? Yeah. Where are you from?
What's your background? Yeah, exactly.
And it does help just break the ice a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be, down in pints or anything like that.
No.
Like, it is.
We do breakfast events. So, and we purposely do it, trying to do it over a couple of hours so that if you're leaving kids to school, you can still come.
There's a flexibility in it.
I say 8 to 10. If you land at 9, no one's going to say you're not allowed in. Yeah. Or if you have to leave at 9:30. Do you know, it's very much... It's informal in that way. I've had so many women go, oh, but I have to do school drop-offs or have to do school pickups. I'm like, that's fine. Work if you can come around that. That's the whole point of it, is that we're being flexible for those kind of things.
Are you seeing you're going to grow as well? You obviously got 50 members at the moment. What would you
genuinely? There is no
limit on it. You just
but there's no reason any company can't be involved. See, them companies that say they're doing their own thing, I genuinely think they could benefit just as much from joining Women in Construction Ireland as the SMEs will join. There is no limit to it. The admin, as I said before we started.
The one thing that you'd like to take out of your job. I
absolutely underestimated the amount of admin that goes into running a business like this. So it's a social enterprise. So like all the money goes back into the company, like, and all funds the likes of networking and the mentoring and things like that. But the amount of admin that goes into it. So if I take on more companies, obviously I'm going to have to use some of that money for a virtual PA, isn't that what they're called?
Virtual PA.
One of them. Yeah.
A bit of software to organise your time. So how do you manage to juggle it all, like between being a mammy and, the camogie and everything else you're doing and the jiving that you're trying to do?
Jiving's on top of my list. Mothers and Others now started last year, so.
Oh, how are you finding that?
I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to bad knees.
And I have a bad side. I fell on the ice. It hurt my... Anyway.
Mine was a skiing accident as well, funny enough.
Mine was skiing. Another network of like-minded women.
Yeah.
And because I'm a blow into where I live as well, it was... And they're 10 years. Like I say, I'm a blow in, like I just moved in. They're 10 years, but it was able for me to meet my kids' friends' parents.
Yeah.
Do you know, or people you see?
It's like networking. It's a relaxed kind of
honestly,
environment.
the social side of it's better than the actual football. I have found out that I'm extremely competitive and in no way skilled. And those two things don't go hand in hand.
And they don't care about it, mothers and others. Like,
No,
they just,
I am useless at football, but I really want to be good, and I get so mad when I'm not good.
I think it's been a brilliant thing for the ladies.
Unbelievable.
It's
I
absolutely
think every club
fantastic.
should have one.
Yeah. We have one in both in my local village. Like, and they've teamed up with our village and the village beside, and they ended up in New York. Like,
Stop.
yeah. So
We actually have a Women in Construction and a CITB-NI event coming up in DKIT, a crossover between
that's an
women.
awful lot of acronyms.
It is, I know. Construction Industry Training Board Northern Ireland. She kill me if I get it wrong. But we're having a women in sports / women in construction panel talk. So do you know they have the new, well, you probably don't because you're not from Louth. There's the new football pitches going up in Dundalk, right beside the college.
Okay.
And Ganson's doing it. So we're having someone from Ganson come in. There's a recent graduate, Jodie, who's going to come in and talk to our current female students. Another recent graduate is the Louth ladies goalie, who are after winning All Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to come in to talk to them. So we're trying to do like a collaboration that way, because it's my two big passions, women in sport and women in construction. So if I can merge them at any time, I will. So yeah, that's coming up as well, actually, after International Women's Day, towards the end of March.
We won't go too far into the women in sport, but it's definitely an era to be like, it's an era for women in sport. You know, between the soccer now, that even, you know, the likes of TG Carr, they're showing the ladies' games, like, you know, it's absolutely fantastic.
Don't get me started, because I'll go down a tangent. We were ladies football on Sunday, and it was diabolical, the conditions that they were made play, and this people at the game made go through to get there. So we have a long way to go when it comes to women in sport as well.
That could be the next one. That could be the next.
Let's do
thing
another
for you.
season on that.
Look, I definitely could talk to you all day long.
I know. We should do episodes.
I think it's the Monaghan accent and the loud accent.
I do not have a Monaghan accent.
Oh, you have a bit of a twang. You do.
Hey.
You do. Hey. Don't talk to me, hey. But I could definitely talk to you all day long. I have a couple of quick fire questions here that I need to run past you, right?
Oh,
so, tea or coffee?
Tea. I hate coffee. I hate coffee. Love tiramisu and love coffee cake.
All right, you like the taste of it, but not the drink of it.
Yeah, the smell of it turns my stomach, so I can eat it if I can't smell it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a bit weird like that.
Do you drink Monaghan champion milk as well?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Sure, what other milk is there?
Nobody knows. No one knows what
it's
we're
the
talking
nicest,
about.
creamy. Oh, yeah, it's lovely. Yeah,
I missed that now.
Like, my kids will know the difference now if it's not.
Oh, you don't need to tell me about the Monaghan.
They'll go home to Granny and Grandad's and they're like, do they have the nice milk? I'm like, no, here, take your milk with you from home. Like, that's how bad it is.
Yeah, nobody would understand that unless you're from up around our parts. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird. Don't talk to me. My mother knows not to ring me after 9 o'clock at night, because I'm probably asleep.
Probably asleep. To be fair, you're a busy woman. Like, I wouldn't.
But like, I'd happily get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do the work.
Yeah.
But my kids get up at 6 anyway, so I have no choice.
Yeah.
But I've always been like that.
And this one's obviously an easy one. On site or office?
On site.
Yeah.
I miss it. I have to say I miss it. I love getting out to the site now, which is very rare, but I do love getting out. Yeah.
I think if when you're out on site, you're kind of all together. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're able to have the hold yourself and hold the banter and everything else, then you just will have the best time and make the best family life. Yeah,
even taking students out. So we go site visit with students. And like, I'm so giddy walking onto the site. I'm like, oh, you're going to love this. This is so exciting. Oh my God, you're going to die when you see this. And
site
like,
Barbie, we call that.
There's something wrong with you. Yes, I know there is.
Special power, invisible or fly?
Oh, I'm going to say invisible. I'm so nosy. If I was invisible, I could listen to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go invisible.
Yeah, and no one will know you're in the room at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine what you'd hear. Oh, maybe I wouldn't actually. I don't think I'd like to know what people say about me.
Look, we'll finish up, we'll wrap up, and thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Dornan Diaries podcast. A big thank you to our guests for sharing their time and insights, and a thank you very much for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, could you please like, follow and subscribe? We'll see you next time on the Dornan Diaries podcast.